seen consumer confidence this week have a sharp drop from last month, the biggest dip in, I believe, 3 years. Why is that, your assessment? Why is that the case, and is there anything you can do?
I think that consumer confidence, if you look at confidence in the nation, it had the biggest increase in the history of the chart. It went up 42 points in a period of like days after the election, since the election. So since the election, the confidence in our nation, including right track, wrong track, the first time it's ever happened where we were on the right track, because this country has been on the wrong track for a long time. So the confidence in business, confidence in the country has reached an all-time high. We have never reached levels like we are right now. Okay.
A simple follow-up to that dumbass answer. Mr. President, do you know what consumer confidence is? And where are you getting your information from about confidence, the right track, wrong track stuff that has nothing to do with consumer confidence? Oh, and when are you going to stop lying?
So when I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one. We will end Kamala's war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill.
Just like the decision I made right after the election to stop arguing with fascists about whether or not they're fascists, I think it's about time we stop arguing about whether or not this administration has any intention to follow through on any of their economic promises that were obviously nonsense during their campaign.
Can you, without invoking the past administration, guarantee that prices won't rise because of these tariffs?
Prices move up, prices move down. That's the way the world works, right?
I think we all know that MAGA didn't have that attitude about prices going up when they weren't in the White House. So again, why does anyone care to debate with people that refuse to acknowledge the reality that's right in front of all of our faces? Because while people are out here posting on Elon Musk's MAGA propaganda site about the obvious fact that they don't care about the cost of everyday items, MAGA legislators are busy making things much, much worse.
There are proposals that are written down by members of the Republicans in Congress to cut $2.3 trillion from Medicaid. And let me be clear of what that would do. It would destroy Medicaid. It wouldn't do anything to fight inflation. It wouldn't bring anybody's prices down. It would just steal people's health care.
So what is there to debate about those very clear facts? MAGA supporters don't deny that Republicans haven't put that very clear message down for everyone to see. They just deflect and lie about Elon Musk finding fraud, waste, and abuse, which is actually just firing people as they dismantle the federal government that they're planning to raid.
Voters asked Republicans to lower the high cost of living and prioritize safety and security. Instead, Republicans are doing nothing to address the affordability crisis, even though they control every branch of government. Inflation is up, housing prices are up, and the cost of eggs is through the roof, if you can even find any to buy.
Democrat Benny Thompson doesn't even have to tell anyone that Republicans aren't doing anything about the costs of things that Trump promised over and over and over again that he'd lower on day one. They know it just as much as they know that he's a fascist. But their addiction to his hatred for others and his lies won't allow them to care. There's no convincing, especially since his support from people that thoughtlessly voted for him is dropping faster than he did to suck Elon's toes in that video on all the monitors at the HUD department.
At the beginning of Donald Trump's term, shortly after inauguration, Donald Trump was at +6 approval. Reuters has been tracking Donald Trump's approval and disapproval for the first 30 days. And they recently released a poll showing that Donald Trump is now at -7. So in less than 1 month, that's a swing of 13 points. And why are Trump's numbers free falling? One reason is because Trumponomics sucks. His indiscriminate tariffs are increasing prices and increasing inflation. Firing people who work on the bird flu or cutting funding to folks who work on the bird flu is going to increase egg prices. And by the way, a lot of places you can't even get eggs. And nowhere is the harm of Trumponomics more exemplified than the Republican budget. This GOP budget is going to cut $880 billion of Medicaid to then fund huge tax cuts for the super wealthy and for billionaires. And what does $880 billion of Medicaid look like? It means the shutting down of community health clinics, the shutting down of hospitals, the shutting down of nursing homes. Approximately 2/3 of nursing home patients are paid for by Medicaid. This is going to have a huge impact on the middle class, on the poor, also that billionaires can get even richer.
Instead of debating about the reality, Representative Liu is warning folks to see what's about to happen as a result of this party's destruction. They've made it abundantly clear that they don't care about MAGA voters. So the ones that think they're still in the clear because they don't work for federal agencies need to realize that the proposals to cut Medicaid doesn't simply affect those employees. It'll shut down jobs in states that rely on patients with Medicaid to visit their clinics and hospitals for their health care. So while you think RFK Jr.'s anti-vax dreams will lead to you never having to visit a doctor, the domino effect of job losses in multiple areas will affect your city, your town, state economies, which changes your economic prospects, even if you're something like a restaurant owner.
How's all this landing?
You know, I think what we're starting to see is the very beginning of buyer's remorse setting in. And the voters that I was talking to both before the election and after the election that are kind of these, we say low information, but we just mean people who aren't tapped into politics all the time. They voted for Donald Trump for one very specific reason. They thought things were too expensive. And they still think things are too expensive. But now what you see is they're like, what is he focusing on? I didn't vote for this dismantling of the government. You may see a lot of terminally online people getting really excited about DOGE. But as you can see, there's a lot of sort of more marginal voters who are looking at this and saying, well, this is chaotic. People are experiencing negative personal consequences as a result of this. And because what Musk is doing is so vast, right, it's going to have a lot of rippling effects across. It's not just people who work for the government. It's all of the people who do contract work or some other way. And it is all across the country. And so, you know, Donald Trump, you can see it in the poll numbers. I can hear it in the focus groups. Like, it's already starting to turn. And that is a bad sign for Trump because honeymoons, even for him, he was getting a pretty muted honeymoon. But honeymoons still usually last a little bit longer than this.